Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Amma ba'da, habati fillah. The question was asked by one of our brothers, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve us in him and forgive us in him and guide us in him. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Are there any Darul Hadiths around, and would you recommend any? Or any universities that offer Islamic studies that do not require an annual acceptance list like the ones in Saudi Arabia? And how about Mauritania? What are your thoughts about studying there? Jazakallah khairan. So what I would say in this regard, as we know, it's very important, as the Prophet ﷺ said, "Man yuridillahu bihi khairan yafaqqahu fid-din." Whenever Allah wants good for a person, He gives them fiqh fi din. He gives them understanding of the religion. So we want to strive our utmost to gain that understanding of the religion and to be loved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So a sign that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you is that He gives you this fiqh fi din. And this is what we understand from this hadith of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Likewise, the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam said, "Talab al-ilm faridatun ala kulli muslim wa muslimin." That seeking knowledge is an obligation upon every male and female Muslim. The Prophet ﷺ also said that "Man salaka tariqan yaltalmisuhu bihi ilman sahhala Allahu lahu tariqan al-jannah." That whoever traverses the path of knowledge, Allah will make easy for him the path to Jannah. So we see that the one who is blessed to do talab al-ilm, this is a sign that Allah has love for them. Secondly, it shows that they're on the path to Jannah if they have ikhlas, they have sincerity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they're striving to learn Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's religion in order to practice it and propagate it and better themselves. And those are just some of the some benefits from amongst the many benefits of seeking knowledge. As far as specifically pertaining to your question, then we have to look at a few things. There's a few aspects or a few important points regarding the question. The first thing about Dar al-Hadith. The Dar al-Hadith that I know and have visited or have lived in for a period of time, those were Marakis al-Ilm, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve them. Some of them are still around in Yemen. And I would not advise going to Yemen, nor do I think it's really possible to enter Yemen, possibly in the south, but I wouldn't advise it at all. Because, as we know, they are in conflict, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve the country and unite the people's heart based on the Book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and bless them with peace and stability, Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen, and an increase in their rizq, in their economic well-being, Ameen. So I wouldn't advise that. There are Dar al-Hadith also, there is here in Mecca and Medina. And I think the requirements to get into those, the Dar al-Hadith, as well as Mahar al-Haram, which I studied a year in Mahar al-Haram in Medina as well, that those either you have to have residency here in Saudi Arabia, or you possibly they offer outside scholarships. I don't know, I'm not really aware, but I think most of the people that I know who studied in Dar al-Hadith and and Mahar al-Haram, that they were people who were residents, they were workers, and then they studied in the evening. And some were students of knowledge, and they were able to just make full-time study there. So those are just some of the situations. What we want to be concerned about is that when you do study, wherever you go, and I can only speak more so about the Arab countries, as far as institutions, although there are throughout Africa in West Africa, I believe, and in other places, really all over Africa, that were funded in the past by Saudi Arabia. But due to various reasons, probably many of those institutes have either closed down or they don't have the funding any longer. And so, also in Indonesia as well. So I think Indonesia has some opportunities as well. And I know some sheikhs there, but I don't have contacts with them anymore. But I know there are opportunities in many of the Muslim lands. As far as some of the Arab countries, going to Morocco, Mauritania, and of course Egypt. Egypt, I think, would probably be the easiest and the where you would have more options as far as learning the Arabic language. It would be improper to say, or incorrect to say that there are no Salafis in the Azhar. Okay? However, with that being said, I believe still that the main Aqidah that is taught there in Azhar and places like that, although, it's an institution where you could get a scholarship and study and learn the Arabic language and learn fiqh and learn other things, the other sciences, but because of their program is highly ashari in nature as its foundation, I couldn't recommend going there because many of the people, even if you have a general Aqidah, the Aqidah of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, it's possible that you can be persuaded or that you can be influenced by studying in non-Salafi institutions, or it would be more correct to say institutions that are either run by Ahl Bid'ah or highly, that the curriculum itself is laced with a lot of the methodology of Ahl Kalam and philosophy and so on and so forth. So, with that being said, in Egypt there are opportunities and institutes to study the Arabic language, and of course there's mashayikh there and other opportunities, but I'm not fully familiar because I've never lived in Egypt. I've only visited Egypt, but speaking to various brothers who've come and gone from Egypt, that those are some of the opportunities. Likewise, going to Morocco, perhaps you could learn the Arabic language, but again, you just need to be careful about the institutes in which you learn, because probably when learning the language, they'll probably emphasize either emphasizing political issues and so forth, and learning the Arabic language with the politics, or they will perhaps have some other orientation. So I would just be weary as well in those situations, to be cognizant. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, absolutely, if you have this opportunity, a blessed opportunity to go and study, then you need to take that opportunity. As far as Mauritania is well known for their scholarship, for their memorization especially. And scholars that come out of there, although they're not known generally of having the Aqidah of Ahl Sunnah, there are those that do, and there are some known Salafi mashayikh from the past and so forth, and so on and so forth. Just in general, you need to be cautious because of the immense amount of the Sufi Aqidah that is there and that will be taught. So even if you begin by learning Arabic, and even if they are very, very on a high level in many of those sciences and in memorization, but we fear that perhaps you can be influenced by the Aqidah in those places. So I don't know of any institutes that teach or any sheikhs there. I don't know of any. That does not mean that there aren't any. I'm just saying I have no knowledge of this. So I can't say other than that, except for to be careful in a general sense. So those are just some of the things that I would advise in general. to think carefully about wherever you go. And now there's many online programs, walillah alhamdi, where you can study Arabic and you can study the religion. Of course, it's not like making a rihla fi talab al-ilm, to go and travel and seek knowledge at the feet of the scholars, which is the best. But if you are unable to do so, then walillah alhamd, now knowledge has come to your door and is in the houses of the people. And even oftentimes you can study some knowledge for free. So this is a great ni'mah from Allah Azza wa Jal, and we ask Allah the Almighty to accept our good and forgive our evil. Wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.